Hey everyone, Chris here. If you're tracking your nutrition and maybe counting calories, there's a good chance that you're using the myfitnesspal app. It's very popular for tracking the amount of food we're eating and how many calories we're taking in. And so in this video, I wanted to go into a bit of a dive into it because it's an app that I use, and while you can just use it to just mechanically put your food in and it spits out a number, there are a lot of useful features in there for athletes that maybe you don't see at first and maybe you're not aware of or not using fully, that I find really useful to use both in my personal life and when I'm coaching to help people really get the most out of their nutrition. So we'll dive onto my phone now and we'll go through a couple of the features that I think are really useful. We're inside the myfitnesspal app, and the thing that most people use is the diary. So this is where we can enter foods, and I could go in, I could add my breakfast, maybe I've had strawberry ice cream for breakfast, and then this will show up. So here it's got all, this is yesterday, and it's got all my food in, and at the top breaks it down by meal, and at the top it gives me my calories for the day, so my goal, the amount I've eaten, the amount of exercise I've done, and so how many calories I have left. And yesterday I was under by 81. Now if we scroll down to the bottom, we can see down here I've got this exercise adjustment. So there's a couple of things going on here. I've connected myfitnesspal and Garmin up so that all of my exercise gets synced from Garmin to myfitnesspal. So that, for example, yesterday I did 5,000 steps, and so that was less than myfitnesspal predicted I would do, so it's taken 29 calories off there. But I also did a couple of hours on the turbo and I did some strength training, and those calories have come through as well. So if you want to accurately gauge how much you're burning and how much you want to get in, you can connect a number of other devices. I think Fitbit does it as well, so that it will adjust your calories, and you can edit them on here, but it syncs it automatically. Now with Garmin here, what I've done is I've enabled negative calorie adjustment, so by default it will only move your calories up when you do exercise, but if you've underestimated how much you're going to exercise, you want this little negative value here. And to do that, I think you have to go to the website to turn negative calorie adjustment on, but that's a super useful feature. Also, the way it comes through changes. So for example, here on Sunday I was on Zwift, and it hasn't come through as a Zwift entry here, even though I burnt like 1,000 calories. You can see I'm massively, if we look at the top, I'm 400 calories over. My excuse here is this was Super Bowl Sunday, and the day before I saved up a bunch of calories so I could have a massive meal during Super Bowl. But anyway, it's come down here, it's adjusted it, so it said, well, I've walked 1,000 steps more, even though I was actually under my step count there. The reason is because for some apps like Zwift, it just includes it in this Garmin step count. So I burnt 1,000 calories on Zwift, and it came through as just an adjustment to my step count, whereas yesterday, I was on Trainer Road, and that's come through as a separate entity here as its own thing. Not sure why some apps come through like that and some apps just adjust my calorie adjustment. Maybe Zwift isn't providing the calories burnt in the same way that Trainer Road is, but sometimes it comes through as steps and sometimes it comes through as a separate activity. But in any way, the exercise adjusts how many calories I've burnt so that I know what adjustments I need to make. Now if we go to at the top, we've got this just above the diary here, we've got this calories remaining, and if I tap that, that'll take me into this additional view, and that gives me some really useful stuff here. So if I go to macros, that will tell me my percentage of carbohydrate, protein and fat. And you can set custom targets here. Normally you'd aim for about 50% carbs, 30% fat, 20% protein. I'm pretty good at hitting my protein targets, not so good at hitting my carb targets because fat is delicious. And wow, that was a terrible day. Again, Super Bowl Sunday, everything was off there. Whereas Friday, got loads of protein in. And that was quite a nice day. Hit almost every target there. That looks good. Let's go back to today and more recently. So the other thing I can do here is if I click that, I can go to week view, and that will give me an overview of my week. Let's go back to day view temporarily. If I want to troubleshoot this and say, okay, well, I'm eating not enough carbs and I'm eating too much fat, I can scroll down here and this will give me the foods available that I've eaten that contain the most fat. So here, the fact that I had some chocolate and some quesadillas, I could remove those from my diet because they're super fatty. And it's not a great example because the quesadillas are top everywhere. Okay, so here was a pretty terrible day. What did I have here? I had Burger King for lunch, that's why, and then I had sausages for tea. So that really was a terrible day on the macros. But this is just really useful for troubleshooting to see where are you getting too much of something or not enough of something, what foods could you develop to help you hit those nutrition goals. And then if we come over here to calories, this on the day view isn't super useful because it just gives me my meal breakdown. But if I go to week view, this will give me the past 7 days and it will give me this net calories. So say if I'm going out for a massive meal, or again, it's Super Bowl Sunday, and I want to know how many calories I can eat today and still stay under for the week, this will give me my goal, my net average, and my net calories under weekly goal. So I know this isn't this week, but I'm nearly 1,000 calories under my goal, so I could go out and eat a lot. So that's the diary view progress, pretty self-explanatory. It's just a graph of how my weight's going down. And then if we go to more, there's a couple of things to explore here. So first of all, if I go into goals, I can set my weekly goal, which at the moment I'm just looking to maintain weight, but that's where I would set my weight loss or weight gain goals if I was looking to build muscles. And I can also set my activity level here. So I'm mostly at a computer, so I've set it to lightly active because when I go out training, Garmin makes all those adjustments for me. So you want to find a level where it's roughly accurate based on what you're doing. Let's go in and edit this. So I could even turn it down to not very active, or if you have a more active job, you want higher calories there. But I find if I set it to the level of I'm behind a computer and I go out and walk occasionally, and then I let Garmin do all the other readjustments so that I get an accurate picture of what's going on. And if you're looking to do that, then if we go down to this apps and devices in the more menu, this is where you can configure. So I've done Garmin Connect, but also you could connect up your Polar Flow if you're using Polar. And there's a bunch of different apps that you could configure here. There's Fitbit as well. And I wonder if Sunto has an integration. Let's go down and look. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Wahoo has one. Hopefully the apps you've got will connect in. And then you can connect and disconnect it here. And that will allow that integration to happen. And then finally, let's go down to our diary settings. So we're going to settings and we'll go to diary settings here. Bunch of useful options here. So for example, I don't I don't track how much water I drink, so I've just turned that off. And I can also customize my meal names. So if you want to change any of these, you can do it here. I've also added this 5th additional meal, which is training, because what I don't like is if I go out on a long run and I'm eating during my running, I then used to have to put that all into snacks, and that's not really accurate. So I've added this 5th meal, which is training meal, and that's where I can record any food that I eat while training, or if I need to take any nutrition immediately after a workout for recovery, I can track that in there, so that I can track my net calories burnt from exercise after factoring foods I'm eating on long runs and bike rides. So hopefully that's given you some ideas of how you can use the app more fully. There we go. Hopefully you learned something from that. If so, please give this video a thumbs up. And on my channel, I talk a lot about sport, endurance specifically, and nutrition as well. So if you're interested in any of that, hit the subscribe button and you will get all of my new videos in your feed.